Assigning a pen table to a printed drawing may seem unusual at first. That's because we don't typically need a pen table when printing from other applications. In this lesson, we're going to take a closer look at why selecting a pen table is helpful when printing an AutoCAD drawing. You see, AutoCAD is a vector-based application. Its job is to create line work. Those lines can be displayed using several different colors. If I open the layer control and click on one of these color samples, it brings up the Select Color dialog box. In this box, AutoCAD gives us 255 color choices. Now each of these colors represents a virtual pen that can be configured to print however you like. So really, this dialog box is a pen selector. If I hover over a color, take a look at the text just beneath my cursor. Even though that says index color, it's really showing me the pen number that corresponds to that color. Knowing this, if I assign pen number 1 to a layer, that layer will appear red on screen. If I assign pen number 3, that layer will appear green. When it comes down to it, a layer's color corresponds to a pen, and that pen controls how the geometry on that layer will look when it's printed. Let's create a custom pen table to illustrate this point. I'm going to click the X to close this dialog box, and then I'll move up and click Plot. In the Plot dialog box, I'm going to open the Pen Style Table menu, and I'll choose the monochrome pens. I'll click Yes when prompted. I'll then click the Edit button. This allows me to reach into the monochrome pen table and make some changes. Now the pens can be viewed two different ways. The Form view, which shows me a list of the colors, or pens on the left. If I select a pen, I can adjust its properties on the right. I can also use the Table view. This is much like Microsoft Excel, where we can see a listing of the pens across the top and their settings down below. If I drag this left and right, you can see that all of the pens are designed to print as black. That's why it's called the monochrome pens. Let's make a change. In the drawing we were just looking at, the part geometry was drawn on a layer that was yellow, or pen 2. Let's say I would like pen 2 to plot as red. Now that I've made this change, I'm going to save the pens. Now I don't want to overwrite my monochrome pens, so I click Save As and give this a new name. I'll call this file My Custom Pens, then I'll click Save. I'll then click the X to close the dialog box and we'll plot this drawing. I'll open the pen table and make sure that my new pens are selected. I'll click Yes when prompted. I will then open the printer menu, and I'm going to use DWF6 ePlot printer. You can select the printer of your choice. I'd like to print this on an 8.5 by 11-inch sheet. We'll open the plot area menu and I'll select Window. I'll then create a rectangle that defines the area I'd like to print. I'd like this geometry centered on the sheet, and I'd like to print this to a scale. So I will remove the check from Fit to Paper. And we can see that this geometry will fit at approximately 1 inch equals 1.8 for 2 units. This is very close to a 1:2 scale. So I'll open the Scale menu and I'll select 1:2. Based on the preview, it looks like this geometry will fit perfectly. Let's come down and click Preview and take a look at the sheet. As you can see, since I'm using my custom pens, any geometry that is on a yellow layer is now represented red on the print. To complete this print, I'm going to move up and click the plot icon on the upper left corner. Since I'm printing this drawing to a file, I'll save it on the desktop. I'm going to accept the default name and I'll click Save. When it's finished printing, I will right-click on the Plot Publish icon and choose View Plotted File to open the drawing in Autodesk Design Review. And you can see an example of the finished print on screen. Now that you understand the importance of pens, consider creating your own custom pen table. By simply modifying a couple of pen settings, you can take your printed designs to a whole new level.